this has been so incredibly difficult getting into Facebook Live. It really didn't want to cooperate with me the past couple of days. So I probably am going to try to do this a couple times today because I got to catch up. Genesis chapter 19. There are a couple things in this particular chapter that just kind of can give you a nervous twitch. So let's get to it. Now the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. If you will recall, when we were back in Genesis 18, there were three men who came to Abraham, and the Lord stayed with Abraham, and they had that great big long conversation about, well, you're going to destroy this city if you can find, 45 righteous men? How about 40? How about 30? How about, But the two angels, so obviously now we have figured out from these verses that these three men, they were God and two angels. God occasionally takes on a human body, according to Old Testament scripture, that can eat and drink and wash his feet. Okay, so when Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, "Here now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night, and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way." And they said, "No, but we will spend the night in the open square." But he, that would be Lot, insisted strongly, so they turned into him and entered his house. Then he made a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, that we may know them carnally." Something tells me that Lot knew that something like this was going to happen, or he wouldn't have been so adamant about, no. You're not going to stay in the square. You're coming with me. Verse 6. So Lot went out to them through the doorway, shut the door behind him, and said, "Please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. See now, I have two daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you, and you may do with them as you wish. Only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason they have come under the shadow of my roof." Stopping here to go, I don't understand why it would be okay to have a culture that holds hospitality of higher importance than one's family or something. I don't know what's going on there. I was talking to Debbie about it. She said that maybe it had to do with the fact that these guys were obviously looking for a homosexual interaction, so they wouldn't be interested. So it was a safe offer. He knew they weren't going to take him up on it. I'm not necessarily sure that that's true, because if you go to Judges chapter 19, we have almost the same scenario coming down, in that in a particular town, the people surrounded the house and they shoved, I guess, the guy's daughter and the one who was visiting, his concubine, out the door instead of going themselves, and they ended up killing the concubine. There's something here, because nothing is written down for no reason. I just don't know what it is yet. Now I'm going to think about it a lot. Verse 9, and they said, stand back. Then they said, this one came to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot, and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they became weary of trying to find the door. That's interesting. Then the men said to Lot, have you anyone else here? Son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whomever you have in the city. Take them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who had married his daughters, and said, get up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But to his sons-in-law he seemed to be joking. Odd thing, because I was reading this in another version yesterday, and in the other version, the sons-in-laws that he went to were the ones that were promised to the daughters that were still living at home, but these sons-in-laws seem to be married to other daughters? I don't know, it's a little confusing. Not that it matters, because they're not going to make it until the next day. But to the sons-in-laws, he seemed to be joking. When the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. And while he lingered, the men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him. And they brought him out and set him outside the city. So it came to pass, when they had brought them outside, that he said, escape for your life. Do not look behind you, or stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed. Then Lot said to them, please, no, my lords. Indeed, now your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have increased your mercy, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, lest some evil overtake me and I die. See now, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Please let me escape there. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said to him, see, I have favored you concerning this thing also, in that I will not overthrow this city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun had risen upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar. Then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham went early in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord. Then he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and he saw, and behold, the smoke of the land, which went up like the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when the Lord destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities which Lot had dwelt. Then Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below,